Skyrim is a terrifying place. But is it really just fantasy creatures and vampire cults that ruin the fun for all the simple folk? If I had to pick between real life or Skyrim, which would be better? Of course real life is way better. I mean, iPhones are practically a subclass of magic all on their own. But what about before electronics became a thing? Medieval Europe would probably be a fair comparison. That's basically Skyrim without all the monsters. I'll grant points in 3 categories: nature, other people, and magic. Welcome to my video essay. Skeevers are native to Skyrim, and they function exactly the same way as the real-world bubonic plague rats. One nip and you get ataxia, which is also a real-life disease where you lose control of your limbs. Unlike the real world, healthcare is very simple in Skyrim. Take a jaunty stroll over to one of the temples and pray to the gods to magically factory reset your pathetic body, and they will. Or you can simply eat garlic bread. Olive Garden, hit me up. I've got a whole market for you to corner. If you wanted to cure your diseases in medieval Europe, you'd have to rely on doctors who base their work in something called humorism, which is the belief that all physical ailments were caused by too much or too little of 4 fluids inside the human body: blood, yellow bile, black bile. What is that? And phlegm. Humorism led to extremely cool choices, such as sticking leeches on someone to drain their blood, or literal mercury lotion. You heard that right. Free mercury poisoning. Everybody step up. Come on, you want it? I know you do. Skincare routine. What if simply no skin? Considering an ambulance costs $7,000 where I live, I'm gonna give this to the place where I can visit an Olive Garden and cure my plague. +1 to Skyrim. Giants. Suddenly, an 11-foot tall man runs up to you swinging a 200-pound mammoth femur and uses your body like a squishy golf ball that only goes in the direction of the sun. But their rage is kind of understandable? Humans love to do pesky things like live and get curious and steal valuables. If someone tried to steal my fermented cheese I kept in a bag, I'd start swinging too. In medieval times, the only giant you had to worry about was the massive ego of your local land baron. If you were even suspected of not paying your taxes to him, you'd best be prepared for the maximum torture/jail time that a power-tripping teenager with unlimited daddy's money could slap you with. I don't know which one is worse, actually. Unlike human landlords, Skyrim giants mostly mind their own business and can be bribed with livestock, so +1 to Skyrim. Trolls. Have you ever wanted to be punched off a mountain in real life? Do you love getting surprised by a 7-foot-tall hairy guy with territorial issues? Then come to Skyrim. For the low price of 1 mandatory story quest, you too can get your archer's entire body turned inside out with a single slap. This guy does not know personal space, so I'd honestly rather touch my forehead to a wall repeatedly than fight him. The closest thing to road-guarding trolls you'd meet in medieval times were usually A, bandits, or B, various military factions in the process of invading your country. The legends of medieval trolls were also a thing, but thankfully they were stuck in epic old English poems where they're called Grendelkin, are super jealous for no reason, and don't actually exist. Easy choice. +1 point for reality, please. Thank you. Are you, like me, a deadly lizard fan? Did you watch Jurassic Park and think, wow, if the T-Rex could fly, that would be an improvement actually? Then dragons are for you. If your horse so much as catches a whiff of a dragon, it will teleport across pixelated space-time to engage in hoof-to-claw combat. If you're lucky, some hapless villagers with pitchforks will volunteer their lives and leave wonderfully lootable, very sad corpses behind. And when you run out of civilian corpses to hide behind, you'll get a silly little cinematic of what it's like to be nibbled on by a superior species. In medieval times, the closest threat to sky lizards was your house suddenly getting torched because you were accused of being a witch. Witches were believed to cavort with Satan, and in medieval art and literature, Satan was represented by a dragon. See where I'm going with this? Apparently, no evidence was needed other than some town gossip to be accused of being a witch. +1 for reality. Bears are something Skyrim and the real world have in common. You don't tango with the big boys, you just don't do it. They look like cuddly guys with their silly little ears, but much like a cat's belly, it's a trap. They are friend-shaped and enemy-equipped. They've got claws as long as your forearm and can rip metal cars apart. Bears can rip metal apart with only their nails. I don't know about you guys, but my nails bend backwards when I try to open a soda can. In Skyrim, bears blend in with the yellow/brown leaves, and you don't see them until it's too late and you accidentally step on their tail. Todd Howard, creator of Skyrim. Hi, it's me, an anime girl, begging you to please invent smell-o-vision for these lads. Please, please, please. In medieval England, brown bears were native wildlife until rich people hunted them to extinction. And then we were like, remember those guys? They were fun. And then we re-imported them so we could kill them some more. Awesome, great. I'm not sure who wins here, but it's definitely not the bears. +0, no points for anyone. I'm just gonna say no one did a good job here. The main issue with Skyrim horses is that they love to get distracted. With the critical thinking skills and attention span of me watching TikTok, the moment anything hostile dares to exist within rendering distance, your horse will throw itself into danger and perish. The problem is that horses in Skyrim cost upwards of 1,000 gold. After months of night shifts at the local tavern, you can finally fork over 1,000 big ones for your very own horse. It's not hard to say, horse. You ride off on your new pony friend, and suddenly your regal mount lets out a and disappears over the hill at the approximate speed of an F1 car. By the time you catch up, a 2-ton bear has slashed away half its health, and it now decides to run even further away in fear of death. If you're lucky, you can fast travel and pray to the 8, Thalmor, don't sue me, please, to the 8 divines that the horse lived to show up at the nearest stables. Your horse is a criminal. It's a criminal, and it should be crimed up in a court of law. But the game doesn't have that yet. Modders, get on that. Can we get on that, please? I want to sue my horse. However, in medieval Europe, animals could actually be put on trial. In the year 1545, 2 French lawyers were hired to defend a bunch of weevils who were accused of malicious destruction by local wine growers. Yeah, weevils. These little guys, on trial, on crime. They've done nothing wrong. In 1386, a pig was executed for evil propensity of eating infants on the street. In case you didn't know, the word propensity means preference. So it preferred to eat infants above other normal food. Huh? Yet again, no one wins here. That's wild that we keep not winning. Nobody wins when there's infants being eaten. That's just my opinion. +0 points to everyone. Do better. I need an adult. Category 2, other people. After escaping nature and wandering into the city limits, we must endure the unpleasantries of dealing with other people. The problem with people is sometimes they have disagreements. The land of Skyrim is going through mild changes, and by mild changes, I mean riotous civil war. So accidentally slipping into the opposite camp of the faction you chose means you get ganged up on like a pizza crust in a sewer full of rats. In Skyrim, the casualties of these battles probably just get picked apart by crows, but in the real-life medieval era, women usually counted the dead post-battle. Turns out bodies were too heavy to carry back, so the women would saw off the body's hand instead, because they had rings and distinctive marks that the family could identify. These hands would then go into big canvas bags that the ladies would haul back to town. That is the origin of the modern word handbag. You're welcome. Free PR, Gucci. Free PR going on right now. Gucci paying me. I don't think anyone wins in war, so +0 points to everybody. The Dark Brotherhood specializes in 2 things: having the edgiest name and unaliving people for money. Someone stole your sweet roll? Consider it fixed. Permanently. Whatever petty disagreements you have with someone can be solved if you just... Hold on, let me check my notes. Fashion an effigy of the intended victim from a real human heart, skull, bones, and flesh. An assassin will show up in 20 minutes or your money back, guaranteed. Medieval Europe probably had assassins too, a lot of them specializing in poison and living in Italy. But a more popular form of expressing your displeasure was torture. You had the stretching rack, the drawn quartering, and oh, that's right, the medieval rat torture. Have I not told you guys about that one? You have a keyboard, seal your own fate on Google, bro. Like, I'm gonna give neither Skyrim nor reality any points here because I suddenly feel very ill. In Skyrim, the only true divorce is getting eaten by a dragon. Try as you might, you cannot separate from the rugged, handsome Argonian man you have married. The goddess of marriage, Mara, will simply not allow it. You can become a vampire lord who eats the sun in this game, but divorce? Absolutely not. We have no office space for that. In medieval Germany, a popular method of divorce was actually trial by single combat. Usually, the man had to take some handicaps, like standing in a hole or with a hand tied behind his back, while the woman got to brandish a sack full of rocks directly at his head. I'm gonna give this one to reality. The ability to get out of a bad decision is so important these days. Beauty standards throughout history fluctuate wildly, but also, have you seen a Skyrim NPC? My favorite beauty queen in Skyrim is undoubtedly the Hagraven, because A, they're cannibals, and everyone knows a lot of protein makes big, beautiful muscles. And B, they can give you literal brain rot. on. Their forehead game is unbelievable. In medieval Europe, big foreheads were actually a beauty trend linked to modesty and faith, and women would pluck out their hairlines and their eyebrows and even their eyelashes to get this look. I'm gonna say no one wins hair. Get it? Hair. Plus 0 points to both Skyrim and reality. No one wins hair. Woo! Final category, magic. Let's go. I don't have time to explain the creation myth of Tamriel to you. All you need to know is magic in Skyrim comes from Magnus. He buried his eyeball under a ruin, and that's so slay of him. His name is what the people of Tamriel call their solar system sun. Just an orb of plasma with a guy's name. Hey, Timothy. Unlike Skyrim, where magic is chill, magic in medieval times was called maleficium, and it meant you were kissing the devil, summoning demons, or doing a cannibalism. In reality, anything from tampering with crops to having feuds with a powerful family could get you slapped with charges of maleficium. It was basically a shortcut for the church/nobles to get rid of people they didn't like. Like a fun little cheat code for the rich and powerful. Just one. I'm glad they have at least one, poor things. +1 to Skyrim because obviously, magic cool. Illusion magic and psychedelic bread. You know that moment when your parent finds your fanfiction bookmarks and you want to disappear into thin air? No, just me? Feeling really supported here. Skyrim's illusion magic is game-bendingly broken, and the invisibility spell is the only thing that can hide my shame. I would definitely never ever cast the calm spell on my parents to make them relax, or the mayhem spell in a crowded area. Never. No, not me. I would never do that. In medieval times, wheat was scarce between the winter and next year's autumn harvest, so sometimes old wheat was used to make bread. This old wheat could harbor a fungus called ergot, which can't be destroyed during cooking and incites LSD-like symptoms in the humans who eat it. That's pretty close to illusion magic in real life. Skyrim wins this one for the sole ability to make my mom forget I am hopelessly brain-rotted. You can find graduates of the Bard's College in nearly every tavern in Skyrim singing the same 4 songs. This place has been through like 6 civil wars and an entire Akaviri Beastman invasion, and you only have 4 cool songs? Not even a Kids Bop version? Ragnar the Red is real dead, I get it. Put a little spin on it, a little 808, a little 911, anything. I can hear the song in my sleep, help me. Real bards in medieval England were seen as thieves and criminals, and could only stay inside buildings when they were performing. Then they were kicked out to sleep in the stables or a barn, which is exactly what I want to do when Talskar the Wanderer stops me mid-wolf chase and asks if I want a ditty. Except imagine the barn I throw him into is a hell pit. +1 to reality, I think, because Skyrim doesn't have Kids Bop, and Kids Bop kinda slaps. I'm just gonna be honest, I'm vulnerable and real and honest on YouTube right now. The Daedric Prince Sanguine is a party guy. If he was in our world, he'd be a frat boy. No, the frat king. Sanguine loves parties, drinking, revelry, and especially the scary stuff that comes after you get blackout drunk. He would love it if you wake up missing a toe. He'd think it would be hilarious if your drunk friend turned up a day later unalive in a ditch, or if you slaughtered a whole village while in the grip of juniper mead. That's just the sort of guy Sanguine is. He would love a real-world medieval celebration called the Feast of Fools, which was held in January and inspired by the pagan festival of Saturnalia, where everyone's social status got turned upside down for a single day of feasting, nasty songs, and hitting the gwitty while wearing a dress. It was pretty common for people to fall in rivers while drunk and drown. R.I.P. Rest in Party Town. I think the real world deserves a point here. Mr. Sanguine is simply too scary for me, thank you very much. Books are so common in Skyrim that people even have time to print the saucy stuff, such as the lusty Argonian maid, and the obvious stuff like Alduin is real. There are so many books that Hermaeus Mora, the Daedric Prince of Knowledge, makes his entire realm, Apocrypha, out of books. Books were actually super rare and expensive in medieval times, and before the printing press was invented in 1440, monks had to copy them by hand, by candlelight. Sometimes monks would die of old age while writing. Sometimes they got bored and drew dongers in the margins. I'm gonna give 1 point to reality and 1 point to Skyrim. Books are just that slay. Alright, it's time for the final total. Who wins the title of time and place less likely to kill me super bad? Skyrim or reality? Drum roll, please. Oh wow, I never thought I'd say this, but it looks like reality wins. For me, anyway. For you, I have no idea. Maybe you like being eaten by dragons and punched by trolls. More power to you, bud. Find that portal and jump through, and be sure to send me a letter from inside the dragon's stomach, okay? Bye-bye!